Hola, Madridistas.
Campeones, campeones, ole, ole, ole. I'm gonna save the rest for the Champions League final, hopefully. But yeah, man, welcome back to a very special episode. We have finally won it, man. Fucking finally, the curse has been finally broken. Um, it took a long while. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I wish though, because we didn't give a fuck about this competition for large parts of the last decade. But finally, we are here. Not as straightforward as I expected it to be, as I wanted it to be. Very warm night in Seville. Record temperatures and whatnot, and the players were clearly getting fatigued, especially in the second half and whatnot. But we weathered the storm. Hats off to Osasuna, man. Kevin, you guys deserve all the respect in the world because, like we discussed, like we kind of anticipated in the preview itself, Osasuna weren't here to just bow out empty-handed. They came here and actually gave it a real go. To start off, I would start with you, man. Your thoughts on Osasuna's performance?
I just match to end. I want an extra few minutes. I think there could have been one more chance to try and take it to extra time. But no, Osasuna can be very proud. For sure, they fought. It's what Osasuna do. They didn't let the occasion, I want to say, get to them. Of course, I think the early goal probably settled them down a little bit. But, they didn't make it easy at all for Madrid. And I want to say it was probably the experience of Madrid and, that took them across the line in the end because all these guys, they've been in many, many finals before. It was a big moment for all the players. But yeah, man, we can be proud. I'm sort of leaving that final disappointed we didn't get the win, of course, but we are playing Real Madrid, of course, and but leaving feeling positive actually, and fairly happy. If you watch the game, it wasn't a complete domination of Madrid at all. If anything, apart from the 2 goals and that Alaba chance, I mean, we Osasuna caused them a lot of trouble. So as an Osasuna fan, yeah, that's all I can really take from.
I would actually like to go back to the very beginning. Like we scored in under what, like 2 minutes, 1 minute 47 seconds or something. It was almost this classic script, like we have seen all throughout the great games of the sport. When a team, especially the Goliath, actually takes a lead so quickly into the game, I knew it wasn't going to be easy because once we take a lead so early, we are going to just relax a bit. There is obviously one eye on City. Once the first goal goes in under 2 minutes, both our eyes are on City already. So we expected a slight drop off, but some of the performances, man, even on a final that we won tonight, is borderline embarrassing, honestly. Whether it is a lack of commitment to the cause, whether it is fatigue, maybe it is just saving yourself for Tuesday. Yeah, man, some performances really left me baffled. But on to the positives. Jacob, your thoughts, man. Did you expect us to just open the scoring before you could properly warm your seat?
I had my seat pretty warmed up, so I was listening to Doris in the watch along. And
you should play along with it, man, for fuck's sake.
I mean, yeah, it was totally unexpected. I didn't think Vinny would get through the right back. It was a makeshift right back situation for Osasuna, but still, I didn't.
Moncayola, yeah, who was a midfielder.
Yeah, and Vinny just got through, man, on countless occasions, and that goal was like really sweet. But then again, I had a similar feeling as you. I didn't want to get a goal so early in the first half.
Yeah. Double-edged sword for sure.
I knew what was coming, and it was a hard night. Even the goalkeeper was sweating at the end of it. So that's how hard it was.
Which goalkeeper did you mean?
Oh, both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. Herrera, again, Benzema hasn't scored against Osasuna for like what 9 years or something. That's what I heard on commentary. It's pretty insane, man, and a big part of that is definitely Sergio Herrera. But let's talk about the Vinicius goal because there is no better place to start. I mean, not Vinicius Rodrigo goal, which Vinicius obviously gets like 80% of the credit for. No matter what Osasuna did, this man was borderline unplayable tonight. Kevin, as an opposition, what can you do when someone is in that vein of form?
Well, I think we knew Vinicius would be the threat. I spoke about that in the pre. And we said Moncayola, who's a midfielder by trade, he's playing at right back. Our right back was injured. So that's already sort of red flags for us. And yeah, straight away, the first real dribble of Vinicius, Moncayola was there. He had some cover from Pena, but it was poor defending, to be honest. I know you're playing against a world-class winger, but two players on Vinicius, and then I want to say there were about 5 or 6 other players in the box. They just couldn't block that pass.
I'm looking at people like Aridane and Ruben Pena. Like they didn't offer Moncayola any support, man. It was just lackadaisical, like half-hearted willingness to support.
The whistle went to start the game, and they were still, not fully focused. And Madrid, by surprise, and then they realised, okay, we're in a game now. But listen, as you said, he's a world class winger. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Vinicius has tore apart, all back, from all and all levels of football. So how much can you actually criticise Osasuna, I suppose? So yeah, the goal came fairly early. I think the early goal probably settled the nerves a little bit and the sort of the anxiousness, if there was any, in the Osasuna players, because from then on I felt our defenders were able to control the Vinicius situation a little bit more.
I beg to disagree because for the first half, your defenders couldn't do anything about it, man. The amount of times he went through, he should have had a poker. 4 goals or 4 goal contributions, in my opinion, because second half, yeah, like he faded a bit. But for the first half, he was borderline unplayable. Like every time there was a loose ball, he was first to it. Every time there was a ball played in behind your back line, he was first to it. So I don't understand where the calmness that you exude come from, because the first 20 minutes, the game I saw was Vinicius skinning every single one of your defenders on your right hand flank.
Well, we managed to hold on, I suppose, because yeah, you're right. Every attack went down the left. There was no other area.
I was expecting, like because it became so predictable, like Osasuna would be able to do something. They couldn't.
No, they couldn't, and Moncayola got booked, I think, fairly early on. Was
that's the worst nightmare of a defender, especially in a final.
Yeah, and against Vinicius. But they did hold on, to be fair, and they did manage to see off Vinicius and frustrate him. We spoke about him. He is a player that we that you can frustrate, and they were able to sort of do that. I thought Osasuna responded quite well. Straight away, Budimir had a couple of chances on the other end, a couple of close heads. So it wasn't. That I think that gave Osasuna sort of confidence and to say actually we can probably do something here. It's only 1-0. Let's continue the fight.
100%. Jacob, the thing with Vinicius is basically no matter what is up against him, he manages to find a way. Can you just enlighten us before we get to the comments? There's quite a few, but can you enlighten us from with your perspective, how he manages to have this relentlessness, especially his awareness, his maturity, which has been key in his growth, over the course of the last 2 years. How does it all come together in this one man army at times because Benzema was non-existent for large parts.
That's the theme of the season, right? Even when the team is suffering,
Absolutely.
when there are no other
Yeah.
performers, like literally only Courtois and Vinicius probably have like a 10 out of 10 game every other game in La Liga, and
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in these finals, I think we saw a higher gear of Vinny too. It wasn't
Mm.
just he actually tried all the whole 90 minutes to get through, and then he got through successfully, and it just goes to show he has a higher gear and he has a higher acceleration in these sort of matches. And I just can't wait for this version of Vinny to turn up against City as well, man. Because suddenly I have hope, and it just depends on some of these guys also to, put in a decent performance just to support him a bit. And I think we can get the job done.
100%. Vinicius is our biggest asset, man. Like the more that I see of him, he just exudes this confidence, this lack of fear that I've seen in absolute greats. Like all throughout um, the past decade, the names we have, like he's ice cool. Apart from his temperament with the referees, I think the more I watch of him, I think he kind of detaches from it when he's in full swing and driving
I
at
mean,
opposition defenses.
so
Yeah,
Junaid, like I heard something interesting from Doris today. So she was like,
right.
hey, is Vinicius actually getting mad at these players and actually getting, are these players getting into his head? Or is Vinny just a really good Hollywood actor? Is he just acting out that he's mad, and is he actually keeping cool inside?
That's a very good possibility. Like excellent psychoanalysis, Doris. You probably should join the next season of Mindhunter. But I kind of get where Doris is coming from because it can work. It can work because it, the game is as much mental as it's physical. We all know that, right? Um, if you can actually rattle opposition players and put them off their couch, it's easier. Whatever you want to do henceforth becomes like a tad bit easier. But yeah, man, we'll get into it. And before we actually move on further, let's go check out some of the comments. Lol is back. He says we are going to win the Champions League this season. This Winnie masterclass has convinced me. Rodrigo Big Game Gene has convinced me. This cover hell. I'm in 2017. I wish I was in 2017 too, man. Take me back to 2017. The world was a better place. The Bernabeu was a better place. Our club was a better place. But yeah, man, it surely feels like a tiny bit throwback to the good old days where nothing seems to phase us. Um, this Ben's link up play has convinced me. I wish I could say the same about a few particular performances, but I'll just save it. I'll just save it. Tonight is a good night. I'm not gonna dampen the mood. Ashik is back. He says we don't play finals, we win finals, which has always been the case. Kevin, can you remember a time where Real Madrid has lost a final?
Oh, that's a good point. Could it have been a Copa del Rey or Club World Cup? Maybe
Against Atleti, Copa del Rey,
could have been.
2013 or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So,
you got to struggle though, right?
yeah.
You can't just pick it up pick it up from the top of your head. You gotta just like look for it. So yeah, my experiment worked. Thank you, Kevin.
Also knew that Real Madrid are the kings of finals as well, and this was only our second major final in our 103-year history. So gods were always against us, and yeah, I think it was that mentality that Madrid threw. I don't think they were at their best tonight, and maybe that's credit to Osasuna. Apart from if you isolate the Vinicius performance,
Yeah, Vinicius was the only guy that cost you the large amount of issues. Yeah,
I mean I'm sure we'll go on to it, but the Rodrigo second goal was probably a little bit fortunate.
it was definitely fortunate
for Osasuna. But yeah, it was Real Madrid's quality in their individual play that saw it through for sure.
100%. Ashik says Osasuna was a worthy finalist. Yeah, there you go, man. People recognize the game. Like I've always said that Osasuna is not one of your mid-table typical La Liga terrorists. Like who basically decides to play anti-football. Osasuna really goes for it, man. Ashik also says Osasuna didn't lay down; they gave Real a lot of headache. Well done, Osasuna. Yeah, there you go. Props from Ashik himself. Dennis the greatest back. He says, "Big up, Kevin. Big up, Osasuna. I told Madridistas this game wouldn't be easy. We did too, man. We did too. Especially the timing. The timing is what pisses me off because if the FA Cup can be held in June the third, held on June the third, like I don't know why they have to do this to us. Maybe our own federation, has gotten tired of seeing us lift the Champions League. Probably they want to create some sort of a jeopardy, to throw us off. But I hope the players embrace it. Winning breeds winning. So I'm just looking forward to the positive sides. Leaving out all the noise of like fatigue and whatnot. This would be a good preparation for City. And the way the game went, when I was watching the game, I was thinking, oh god, oh god, no niggles, no knocks, um, no hamstring stuff and whatnot. Like my prayers were answered. When I was watching it, it was very tense. But post game reflection, for me, this was a good practice to actually get yourselves warmed up for what is supposed to be a brilliant game on Tuesday, right, Jacob? Like if it was a game that didn't matter, if it was a game in La Liga, it would have sucked, right?
Oh, we would have
The
lost for
momentum.
sure. We would have lost
Yeah.
pretty heavily. And man, there were a lot of nervy moments in this game. We saw Rodrigo going down, Carvajal as well limping, and
Yeah.
it's not just the game situation. It's like we were looking forward to the next match the whole game, and I guess even the bench got pretty nervous. Ancelotti looked very nervous when he saw Rodrigo was down.
I was you could have imagined me, like I'm his biggest um fan over here, and I was pretty desolate to see him struggle. But the Carvajal thing, well, it looked like a clash of knees. It wasn't anything that scary, even though he looked to be in a lot of pain. Yeah, Rodrigo for sure, man. I was rattled, like. But yeah, man. Thankfully, they're all fine. Rodrigo, since we're here, let's talk about Rodrigo. We used to call him Mr. UCL. Surely, after tonight and the goal against Atleti, if I'm not mistaken, he's got to earn a slash Mr. Copa del Rey at this point. Jacob, what makes him so special is his clutchness, man. You can't teach that, can you? You can't coach that, can you? It is just instinct and being there, the right place, right time. Not everyone can actually do that, pull it off.
Yeah, in terms of finishing, he has got the whole package. So we see a lot of players, they can get into a really good situation to shoot the ball, but then they don't have the right finishing or the right calmness to put the ball in the back of the net. But with Rodrigo, if you give him a tiny bit of space and time, the ball's in the back of the net, no doubt. And I'm just glad, man. Like he seemed to have lost his mojo maybe 3 or 4 weeks back, but he seems
Yeah,
right
I was
on.
worried for sure.
Yeah, but he seems right on top of it now, and he's just banging in the goals. And let's just hope, the main striker, Karim Benzema, also carries for the same. But I'm not really worried. Farouk was also said in the preview that he isn't really worried. Even if Benzema doesn't put it in the back of the net today, he's going to turn up against City.
Yeah, that's what I hope for too, because I wasn't too pleased with his performance. I don't know. There were so many loose touches for my liking. So many wayward decisions, especially sometimes the shooting from improbable angles where probably a layoff was better in the circumstance. But it is what it is. I'm not going to go into bad performances or like subpar performances tonight. Unfortunately, you know how we do it here. We enjoy the moment, right? We go deep into it when shit hits the fan. But up until then, we're on this ride, like embracing the good vibes as much as we can, because we support this crest, man. We don't have time for propaganda or clickbaity shit, unfortunately, over here. Doris is in the chat. She says, "Vamos Madrid." Also, welcome back, Kevin. A great game tonight. You guys really gave your all, and you should be proud of your performance. Rightfully so. Yeah, man. Plenty of
Yeah,
uh, plaudits for Osasuna.
players
Go on,
will
Kevin.
tonight, and they obviously pointed with a loss. They've lost the cup final, but the commentary was it was one of the best cup finals they had seen. Purely on the excitement and the pace of the game. I think the early goal helped that. Otherwise, Osasuna would have been a little bit more conservative, defensive. But the early goal made them push out. So yeah, it was a great end-to-end game, and they went
Talk to me.
Madrid.
Talk to me about the Eze chance. I'll talk about Militao to Jacob in a second because I thought I wouldn't want to go into subpar performances, but Militao, boy oh boy. Kevin, talk to me about Eze's chance. Yeah,
Eze player.
It is the best he could have done against Thibaut.
He's a player that predominantly plays on the left and cuts in, but there we saw him press and come from the right. He closed down the ball, and it was a 50-50 there. Him and Militao, he won that 50-50. And you're up against Courtois, one of the best keepers in the world, big frame. He managed to get the ball past him, just lacked that bit of extra pace, Whether the ball was going in or not, I'm not too sure. But when I saw Carvajal come in and clear it, I was like, oh damn. Oh, that would have been it. And then we saw him after the chance really kick that bottle. And I think the commentary was, that's how he should have struck that shot, the way he kicked the bottle in frustration afterwards. And he went for that death chip. But that was probably his closest action of the match. He couldn't have done much more, to be honest with you.
Honestly, like if he goes for the cross shot, a cross goal, like I think Thibaut manages to save it. Near post was completely covered.
Right, he had to. I think Thibaut anticipated a bit of power, not that. So yeah, you had to get it on target and beat who's rushing out. He did the first. Unfortunately, there was just not enough pace on the ball. But certainly that gave Osasuna some hope that we can create chances and build from that. And I think it did.
Fair point, Jacob. On that sequence of play, you saw best of both worlds. Yeah, where Eze is absolutely tenacious. He's battling with someone who is almost like twice the size of himself. And he manages to nick the ball, and you see Militao come crashing down. We have been seeing those kind of sloppiness a lot these past 2 weeks. What is going on, man? Honestly, like I can't put my finger on it. Like, could it be nerves? Could it be fatigue? Like he has played a lot of minutes. Yeah, like he has been the guy who has played like 95% of the available minutes among center backs, defenders this season. What can you put it down to?
I mean, similar to how Ashik was saying, right? Ashik was it Dennis? He was saying like it was a throwback to 2017 when we saw the performance of Carvajal tonight, and similar to that, it was kind of a throwback to me to see Militao's 2021 version, where we used to criticize him for going to ground so easily. He was almost like a gazelle, graceful at times, but other times he just gets his feet wrong. And today we saw a number of like misplaced passes, clearances. I don't know, man.
He was struggling to, I think, find grip, footing. Like sometimes you're slipping all over the place. I don't understand, man. All this makes me super nervous. Ahead of Tuesday.
All that. Worry about it. Yeah, he's not gonna play.
My bad. I was talking about in general the City situation. Like all that chest with Steve yesterday. You were here, Jacob. I don't want Militao to actually put it down the drain because the intimidation, the respect that we earned throughout last season would be undone if we are going to be like seeing performances akin to this, man.
I mean,
even when Rudiger came on, Rudiger was better than Militao.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I mean,
I don't get it.
with Alaba at your side, anything is possible, Sunil. So I think that was there are some positives, right, with our defense. Okay, we did give them too much, Osasuna a lot of space down the right hand, the left hand side. We
Yeah.
did not press for any of the crosses that were coming in. They were coming in thick and fast. But I thought Alaba was going to be rusty coming back so long after injury. But he didn't put a foot wrong, man. He was there putting in last ditch tackles. He was progressing the play up the field. Carvajal had one of the best games of the season. Kamavinga does what Kamavinga does. He and Cruz switched seamlessly. So there are a lot of positives. And heading into the City match for the defense, I'm pretty satisfied. Militao, he might need maybe a rest, sitting on the bench, just watching the game. Might calm his nerves, get his mojo back. Let's just hope for the best, man.
You're being fucking optimistic. I'll tell you that. I'm just not confident about the defensive situation, man. I just am not, man. Honestly, against Osasuna, obviously it's a one-off game. Against Osasuna, if we are performing like this, like I've absolutely no faith. Unfortunately, I can't hold back. Honestly, I've tried to be positive, but the more you actually remind me of the game, I kind of get PTSD because while watching the game, I tried my best to understand what was causing the lack of composure. That's how I would like to phrase it. The lack of composure amongst our defenders was crazy, man.
It's not just the
The
defenders.
attempt,
I mean, we can ask Kevin, right? Is Osasuna really good at their press, man? Because we couldn't seem to hold on to the ball even for a minute. Our midfield was non-existent, and I feel like that led to our defenders also getting a lot of nerves and just punting the ball up the field or just clearing it away.
we'll get to the midfield as well. I was super disappointed in our midfield as well. But Jacob, my thing is, like an attempt to clear is okay, but when the clearance is basically why do you clear the ball? You clear the ball to
Pressure.
alleviate the danger, right? To nullify the danger or give yourself some breathing room, right? But there was instances where Militao is basically hoofing the ball with his weak foot, aiming in one direction and the ball going another. How does this happen, man? Top level centre back, elite centre back, supposed to be the best centre back in Spain, right?
I don't know what to say, man.
How do you explain it? How do you explain it?
When it pours, it rains. That's all I can say. Because we've seen the best and the worst of Militao in this last couple of months.
We were singing his praises.
Yeah.
Carlo was listening to our very podcast and was also getting motivated. Oh my God, Jacob and Sunaid, like he's on them Militao, propaganda. I should get on because it should seem like I feel the pulse of the fans. So he came on to the press conference and he praised Militao. After that, it has been all downhill. No, it has been 100%. Because up until then, he had a certain level of consistency, a certain level of prowess about him, and he was supposed to be our sole savior.
Man,
I don't understand. Let me complete my point. Yeah, this is a rant that I've been keeping it safe for a while. When Hoke actually came on the City preview and he mentioned the tackle against Chelsea wasn't a yellow.
No, man.
I agreed to him at that point,
no way.
unwillingly.
Okay.
But that's a fucking yellow.
Yeah.
But that's a fucking yellow. So that very instance points to me that this guy has lost it, unfortunately, at the wrong period, crucial period of the season. You can't go into a tackle like that. So there's clearly something wrong with his mentality. Like someone needs to talk to him, get him straightened up, because winning one Champions League last year, a double, historic stuff, good shit. But last year was last year, right? We live in the now. We in fucking Liverpool.
Yep.
Right? So if Militao doesn't fix up, I'll tell you, at the Bernabeu, we might be able to survive with a 1-goal lead, maybe with a draw. I don't know. We are sure to concede with or without Militao. But at the Etihad, if we have to survive the onslaught, if Militao isn't at 200%, I don't see us standing a chance.
Yeah, man.
Honestly.
It's going to be Varane 2.0 all over again against City.
The Jesus goal last year, if you remember, do you remember the Gabriel Jesus goal?
Of course.
Militao was caught at sea.
Yep.
So honestly, I wish this Copa del Rey final didn't happen ahead of the City leg, man. Honestly, I really wish, which would have clearly helped us embrace this title, which has eluded us for such a long time. 20th title, a bit of positives to kind of switch it up. Karim Benzema becomes the most decorated French player in history. Carlo Ancelotti wins every title possible. In under 2 years, back on his second stint. Kevin, can you actually, because you're a Madridista as well. If people don't know that, the reason why he's here, if he was purely an Osasuna fan, I would have said no to Kevin. But the reason why Kevin is here basically is because he has
There's some,
clear,
yeah,
clear feelings for the white camiseta as well. So from a partial outside lens, I know it's kind of partial. What makes Ancelotti this winning machine? Is it the calmness that he exudes, to his team? Um, how does he manage to do it? Because he doesn't get enough plaudits from the Spanish media, uh, the international media, or England, where he has coached a number of clubs, throughout his illustrious coaching career.
mhm.
How can you break it down?
I would say in Spain, he does probably get the audits he
Mm,
deserves.
mm,
Certainly, what we see is a calmness from him, but we don't know what he's like in that dressing room. To be honest, and at half time, he may have given his players sort of, particularly like Vinicius, they were starting to lose their heads a little bit. I know there was trouble in the tunnels. I'm sure he went into the players and said, the game's not finished. You need to sort of, focus. But he's got a system, and he's got his tactics, and they're working. To be honest, he's figured out how to get the most out of Vinicius. Although I think you could probably give Zidane some credit for that.
yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Zidane was a big factor.
he's managed to keep Modric and Kroos going as well. Find that extra gear, given they've found an extra, I don't know, few years on their sort of ability. So he just found that chemistry, and he when he came into Madrid, he did bring that sort of calmness, and that sort of, he brought the players together. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So that's just his way. Guardiola's got his own system, quite intense. I want to say Mourinho's got his own system. This is Ancelotti's just, I'd say, calm on the outside, but you really don't know what he's like sort of on the training ground in the changing rooms. But I'm sure he is quite.
He's pretty similar on the inside as well. One more thing I'll add to whatever you said. Like, I completely agree. Um, Along with so much of the experience and the nous of actually managing top egos and big level players,
Yeah.
I think he bought a bit of a de-aging serum or some sort of a potion. Honestly, because there has to be a reason why all these, like, elder heads seems to find another gear. It can't be just coincidence. Everybody, clicking at the same time, right? Benzema, who's 35, Modric, who will be 38. I repeat, fucking 38 in September.
Yeah.
I remember Totti. Totti was one of the all-time great players, yeah. And at 38, he could barely walk a couple of yards. Like, yes, his positioning and his shooting boots were, pretty insane. But Modric at 37, 38, like coming super cold of a hamstring niggle, like when he stepped onto the pitch, he looked like he never left. So there should be something that Carlo does right, Jacob, which we clearly can't explain, which, the football purists can't explain. What do you have to say to Farouk, man, tonight? Do we have to, like we have discussed, always sacrifice like super sophisticated systems, like well planned out, etched out um, defensive drills and whatnot for the power of friendship,
For a friendship.
like we joke about.
I think it's a good problem to have because with these intense managers like Kevin said, with Mourinho's and with your Peps and whatnot, you need your players to perform consistently at every single point of the season, just so you can keep the system going. And if you drop off, it's gonna be when it pours, it's gonna rain. We saw that with Liverpool. And the thing is with Carlo Ancelotti, you just not gonna have that consistency with these older players. You just can't push them like in every single game, man. And if you lose a bit of consistency here and there and not win the league, but you still have all of these players fresh and ready to come back and perform for the matches that really matter. And that's just how Carlos seasons goes. He just not a league manager, and I'm all good for it. I'm fine.
He's not a league manager, yeah. Written him off already. So what if he wins the league next season? What are you gonna, say then? Is it gonna be luck?
No, it's gonna be Barca shit the bed again.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So basically, you're claiming that every other team does him a favor, yeah, to win the league.
This season, I mean, last season, of course, not really, man. If he has a young group of players, I'm pretty sure he could get them motivated for every other game and perform at a really high level. But with these players like Cruz and Modric performing day in day out at the highest level, it's not going to be possible.
Fair point. Fair point. I mean, I'll deny all that. Like in a heartbeat. Like I wouldn't think twice about my feelings about Carlo, but I'll reserve it. Honestly, I'll reserve it. There was similar points last season when I held back. You know, there were games where credentials were questioned, title credentials were questioned, and people used to skin man. People used to go at his eyebrows, but his eyebrows always win. We know that, right, Jacob? And I hope that gets to be the case this season as well. So I'll just reserve it all for hopefully when we get to the big one.
Ashik had a really good
Right.
comment. I mean,
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. Which
okay.
one is it?
So he says Jacob is going through the Farouk syndrome. We all disagree with him on his opinion about Carlo not being a league manager.
Yeah, it is just this spell that Farouk casts on people because at that very moment you want to fight him, but later as you mellow down, you might ask yourself, was he really right? Maybe he had a point to um, point to all that jack shit he spews on a regular basis, but I hope Farouk is actually having a good night, man. This was a trophy that, like everyone else, he wanted as well. I was surprised, Farouk was really into the Copa del Rey hype. I didn't expect that from him, but yeah, man. I want to talk about Alaba. Um, him coming back, Jacob, like it has clearly helped us big time. Um, whether it be ball progression, um, the calmness, the intangibles, like what Hoke said in the chat earlier, pre kickoff. The intangibles form a big part of what Alaba brings to this team. Um, like I said in the chat, pre kickoff, like I used to be the guy who used to call him out, for his defensive lapses, poor aerial abilities, like general lack of concentration in pivotal moments. But when he was missing for such a long time, I kind of understood what we lack when we miss Alaba from this setup. Like how do you classify his return to the team, and does his performance at least look like a good sign, a positive in terms of a defensive setup, ahead of City?
Yeah, man. I don't think with Alaba, it's like we always rated him, at least most fans rated him highly enough that we all know how good he is organizing the defense. Because Courtois is not a vocal person. Militao is not. Whenever Alaba is missing, we see that the defense is totally disorganized. And it's not just that. He does put in these last ditch tackles as well. He knows where to position himself. The only place where he struggles is aerial ability and one-on-one defending. He's not the best one-on-one defender out there. He's not the best aerial, as we saw with countless chances that Osasuna were getting with headers, with Ante
But
Budimir
but
and
something I've noticed from Alaba, like he might not be the best 101, but if he sees that maybe defending 101 is a bad option, he's always ever willing to throw himself at a shot.
yeah,
I can't stress enough how much modern defending has shied away from actually throwing your body at a shot. You know, um, nowadays all the fancy centre backs, Militao is surely amongst them. The Militaos, the Fofanas, the Salibas of this world. I sometimes question their lack of grit. And Alaba has shown me, despite him being a left back, and that to a Marcelo like left back, like you wouldn't expect him to be a Javier Zanetti, um, exactly. But he's never shy to actually, like block shots with whatever it takes. Um, I saw that again today.
yeah.
We saw it against Chelsea. A couple of big moments.
Bro, like Kevin, I don't know if you saw the Chelsea game. I distinctly remember 5 instances where I was pretty sure it's gonna hit the back of the net, and it was only Amrabat's interventions in the second leg, in the first half, that got us through with a clean sheet.
Yeah, he a massive performance. He's done it with Bayern Munich, and he's doing it with Madrid. So he is, he is pivotal in that Madrid defense. He's a leader, and with Ramos gone, and you need somebody like that, and he's sort of fit to wear those for sure. One player we haven't really mentioned in defense is Nacho. I'm actually a big fan of Nacho. I think he's
Likewise.
and he's a good servant to Madrid. Whenever he's called upon, he performs. He has got a little bit of a mistake in him here and there, but all of them do in that back line. And I wouldn't mind seeing him play against City, to be honest. If Militao is cautioned, is he?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So I don't like seeing Alaba as left back. I see sort of wasted on him. I prefer seeing him at centre back, but he's quite diverse that you can play him in sort of both positions. But I prefer him centre back, and yeah, he's so important.
Alaba is going to be so key, to actually getting the job done against City, at least in the first leg. Without Militao, it's going to be pivotal. But friendly reminder to all of you in the chat, man. Over 20 of you in the chat. I don't know how much how the like count is like, but yeah, man, do smash the likes, and if you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1K. And yeah, man, much love for the love. Let's look at a few comments. Ashik was saying earlier, sometimes in defense, it's not just about skill, it's about experience and composure too. Remember, Puyol wasn't the most skilled, but I'd pick him over the idiot that played next to him. Referring to, I guess, Shakir's Playboy. Ashik also says that's what Alaba brings to the defense: the calm and cool composure, a winning mentality and experience. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Let's get into the second half. Yeah, so the first half ended 1-0. Plenty of tension. The game. If the game was probably if it was against maybe someone like a Betis or a Sevilla, I don't think it would have been that tense. But against Osasuna, we always know that we have had a few classic encounters throughout the years, and yeah, man, it was going off. Vinny was having arguments, like Lucas Vasquez, apparently had to calm him down, like that just goes to show, the tempers were, actually boiling over. Some altercation between Chimi Avila and Vinny also, leading up to the tunnel and whatnot. I thought the message at halftime in the dressing room would be, yeah, like they want to rattle us. They want to take a claim wherever possible. If it is down that route where they try to get at us, and kind of knock us off our comfort zone, we shouldn't basically give in to that. We should play through it
Yep.
and not get basically caught up in petty spats. But Jacob, the way the second half started, I have written down a bunch of shit that if I read through it, it would be pretty bad, especially for a winning final, for a how do you put it, for a title winning post match, right?
Yep.
It wouldn't be exactly apt. But the way second half started really had me fuming. Like, how can that be possible, man? Like the primary objective should be to put a sense of calm into proceedings, right? But we did the exact opposite.
I don't know, man. These are the games where we try to bring Cruz on and Modric on to, just to calm down things. And Modric came on a bit more later, and that certainly helped. Having Tchouaméni and Valverde being missing didn't help proceedings.
Tell me, why was Tchouaméni pulled, bro? Can you tell me why he was pulled? Because for me, he was the better midfielder out of the three. I don't know about you. What was your take?
My take was, in case this went to this extra time, Valverde is going to be the player who can put in that extra mile and can actually like take stuff up. And Tchouaméni, having him on, it's not going to get us a goal. It is going to help calm down things, but in case shit goes
That's a fair point.
I feel like that's why Carlo had Valverde on.
The amount of balls that Kroos was giving away, like it felt like the man who's supposed to have 97-99% passing completion completely lost his mojo, man. Like, what is going on?
Not sure, man. I've seen this version of Cruz in a couple of games this season. It doesn't happen very often. This just happened to be one of them, and I don't know. Maybe the that's what I wanted to ask Kevin. Like, is Osasuna really effective at their press? Because I can't find any other explanation why Cruz would give these cheap balls away, because he clearly usually always has the time in other games.
Osasuna, from minute one, like Kevin predicted, like we predicted, left, I think, was it 3 or 4? A max of 4 guys back, and everyone else was ahead of the halfway line and basically pressing us in our faces. Like, they didn't let up for one bit. They were like, yeah, like if like they knew Vinny's gonna skin whoever he comes up against, but they didn't give any fucks at all. Like, they wanted to just go for it. So my question is, there is Davide Ancelotti on the bench. Carlos right there up with him. These guys can see Osasuna is really trying to press us high and basically make it difficult to pass it out of the back. So my question is, why not maybe ping a couple of long balls? Like, yeah, I remember seeing a couple of instances where people tried, but it was just horrific, man. Horrible, bro. Fede couldn't control a ball at times. Like, his shot selection. Remember the Benzema pass to Fede?
Yep.
The brilliant back pass that he almost like twisted his fucking ankle for. He had like good 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds probably to estimate the flight of the ball, the weight of the ball. And he could have maybe taken a touch and probably put his laces through it. But why? Like, is Osasuna Manchester City? I don't know, honestly.
I think if we play that on Tuesday, they're going to get exploited. But credit to Osasuna, they did press, and the half time came at a good time, because at that point there were a lot of tackles flying in, emotions were high, so we needed half time. I think Madrid as well as Osasuna, and I think Arrasate would have said at half time, listen, keep your heads, getting faces and frustrating them doesn't necessarily work in our favour as well, because we want the game to flow. We don't want constantly referees, stopping the game. But yeah, Osasuna did press, and they were brave.
Second half, from
at half time.
Yeah,
there were no changes, but that did leave a lot of spaces in behind, and it was such an end-to-end game, which surprised, Madrid didn't exploit a little bit more. I think Rodrigo did have a chance early on in the second half, before the equaliser.
Yeah.
It was all sort of Osasuna really going for, really pressing, not necessarily lots of shots, but keeping the pressure and keeping the ball in Madrid's side. And yeah, they got their reward, to be honest, because you could see Madrid were sort of back foot. They weren't that we were used to. They weren't in control of the game, I felt, at any half, to be honest. So that is credit to Osasuna and Albacete coming out and being brave. I guess the goal, very, very good goal. It was a deflected or sort of cleared cross that fell to Lucas Torres' foot outside the box. He still had a lot of work to do to score the goal.
That's a brilliant swipe, man. The technique behind that, especially when it comes off the post, it's unsavable. A man who's like 6'5" is stretching across the goal. He couldn't do anything about it. Like that just goes to show where the technique is right. Even the most brilliant of keepers doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, 100%. And that goal deserved. Well, their play deserved the goal, I felt. And yeah, 1-1, excellent. It just gave the game another level. Saw how the fans reacted. And
apparently there were like fire extinguishers needed to be pulled out to set out fires.
Bit too early to celebrate, but I mean, we equalised in the 60th minute, a goal against Madrid. Game on.
That was like a winner for Osasuna, man.
Was yeah.
The fans got their money's worth.
Yeah, for sure. It didn't, 2-0, 3-0. We really and gave Madrid.
Everybody knew that, man. Everybody knew that. The idiots who would be saying that, who like the idiots who would say that would be the guys who hasn't watched like 1 minute of Spanish football in their lives. Like Osasuna, like if they know anything about Osasuna, like they'll tell you that these guys won't give up that easily. But Jacob, what is it about ex-Madridistas, players who hasn't been in our books, coming back to fuck us up, man? Like, how does that happen so often?
I don't know, man. Usually these players leave because they've been warming the bench for so long. They just have no option other than to leave. So at that point, I feel like they've become bitter towards the club. So they have that extra bit of motivation when playing against us. That's the only explanation I have.
People used to tell us, people used to tell me, my bad, people used to tell me while I was starting to watch Real Madrid back in the early 2010s that about the great Fernando Morientes, like who I think went away to Fiorentina and knocked us out. Was it Fiorentina? Was it some other club in Italy? I'm not sure. But yeah, so I wasn't really aware about Fernando Morientes. I had heard his name quite a few times. I didn't have the pleasure to watch him play. Was a brilliant striker for us, for Valencia and whatnot. And once I watched the Morata goal against us in the Champions League for Juve, I was convinced there's something going on, because this isn't a coincidence. I think this is one of those Paul Pogba voodoos, man, because at this point it has to be that, right? Like it can't be just natural occurrence, because the technique, the venom with how that shot went in, like I think there was a divine intervention, 100%, because it was that fucking sweet. Like honestly,
definitely, man. Because we even saw in the Sociedad game, Kubo isn't the player who just pops in and scores goals, man. He was
Kubo, man. Kubo being a poacher, imagine, right? Yeah. A poacher.
There's some mojo going on, just like we have black magic in the Champions League. This is the kind of magic that comes out and hurts us in the ass, man.
Probably, like the trade-off for Zidane's juju is this. I would trade my life for that bald head, but yeah, whatever. We should probably talk about.
There's no that's in City, is there? Brahim Diaz, he's not going to play, I don't think. Or I'm not sure where he is these days.
Brahim Diaz is with Milan, Kevin.
Fine. So no
for like 2 years. Nobody. Yeah, just don't utter a word. No, thank you. So, yeah, you can't basically apparate a City player, I mean a Madrid player, into their dressing room at this point, can you? So please don't, man, don't. We already have a lot on our plate, an ex-player is gonna be just like
The final nail in the
the
coffin.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely at this point. But yeah, man, let's quickly get on to our goal. Yeah, like I was in two minds about what was happening. Because I clearly knew we were on the back foot. We caused that upon ourselves, right? Like Jacob, like we invited Osasuna onto us, right? If it was a team that was putting up two banks of four outside their own D, like we could have understood, yeah, like we are playing to basically get them out, right? Come at us and probably we can, like knock them back on the counter. Um, but that was something we could have done differently. I feel like probably it was, I don't know what was that. I'm pretty sure Carlo, a man of Carlo's experience, wouldn't ask our team with a 1-0 lead to do that. He wouldn't do that. But um, we invited them onto us, they score, and then we get a lucky goal. Can you put it down to just luck, or should we big up Vinicius, who did the three-fourth of all the hard work down the left?
Man, I was totally expecting that ball to go out of play. I'm pretty sure a lot of the
Mm.
defenders were.
How does he fucking keep all these balls inside, man? Like, it's insane, honestly. Because it's just, I'm pretty sure it's just hairline margins how he keeps the ball inside. Because he has to really push it out wide for these guys to like get attracted to him and pull them out of their positions, because they all know what he's going to do, right?
Yep.
We watching at home knows what he's going to do. The people in the stands, they know what he's going to do. He's going to run down the byline, push you to the very extreme, and probably cut it back, or maybe sneak it in near post. But these defenders, man, like it's a really hard watch, honestly, when he is just in this kind of form. Like, um against Kyle Walker, it might be a bit different for sure, because he can really keep up with Vinicius. But that goal is completely all on Mini, right? Like, if it wasn't for him, we could have waited a lot more.
Man, not
Yeah,
just that goal, the whole match is like credited to Vinny.
Mm.
I say that. Don't forget Trent Alexander-Arnold to Reece James. So and also as fullbacks to the. Yeah, I was having flashbacks of Spain v Japan when I was expecting a VAR to microscopically look at the ball if it had gone out of play, but it was just in out of play. But yeah, I would give Vinny the credit, but I have to look at David Garcia as well. We were talking about him in the preview, singing his praises. I think he's at fault for that goal because he failed to clear the ball when it came into the box, and then I think it was Valverde who shot, and then it came. David Garcia turned his body, and it forced him to just roll into sort of Rodrigo's path, and it was on a plate left for him. But credit to Rodrigo, he's in the box, he's alert, and he was there to poke it in. But I think Osasuna should have dealt with that a little bit better. Regardless of the Vinny sort of putting it in the box, we should have cleared the ball.
100%. Should have dealt with it better. Like, it almost came against a bit out of the blue. Like, it was kind of against round of play. And it caught you guys out cold, man. Rodrigo again. This man somehow manages to like keep finding that scoring touch, just happening to be in the right place, right time. I couldn't thank him any more than what I've done over the past year or so. Honestly, the guys who has had severe doubts about his credibility, about his standing within this team setup, I would ask yourselves to wash your mouths, honestly, before you spew such bullshit. You need to understand what Rodrigo brings to this side, despite being deployed out of position. Him having to come inside, having to provide an outlet sometimes out wide. He does so many roles that people don't appreciate him for. Jacob, we discussed about Rodrigo, but I would like another 2 minutes to sing this man's praises. when Farouk actually tells you, yeah, it's a good time for him, but 2 years down the line, you never know what is going to happen. Sometimes I wonder why we need to even think about that, right? Why can't he exist being a right-footed right winger within the setup? Why can't he, man?
I don't know.
This is my question.
So regarding the 2 years down the line, the truth of the matter is, if you're still gonna be playing like shit, if you don't have a system, uh, teams are gonna figure it out. They're gonna block out Vinny, and then if I don't know, I'm not gonna say people can handle Vinny, but people can handle Rodrigo, man. Unless he like bulks up, he can't create chances on his own at the moment. And Real Madrid are gonna
Without bulking up, without creating chances on his own, he seems to be decisive, man. Every single time we look for a hero, it is not magic, is it, Jacob?
It's not. It's not.
It surely isn't. It is not design. We are not playing prime tiki taka ball or anything, right? Right. So it has to be instinct.
No,
And
what I'm trying to say
yeah,
is, so let's say Rodrigo can do these things. He can perform all of these roles apart from like taking the man on, beating him, and creating the chance completely on his own. Sure, here and there,
yeah.
in some times of the season, he might be able to do it, but
Against Atleti, man, fine
yeah,
example, bro.
yeah, he might be able to do it. But if we somehow find a right winger who can do both, who can also take players on, who can do pretty much what Vinicius does, we're still gonna choose them over Rodrigo, man.
Yeah, I'll fight for this lad. Till the end of time, and I'm pretty sure that he'll prove every one of you wrong by just being effective. I don't need him to be 10, man. I don't need him to um, call stuff with his left foot. I just need him to be himself, do what he's doing at this moment in time. If he is being pivotal in us winning games, that's all I think about, man. That's all I would,
Also think about the fact that Benzema is not going to be there in a couple of years, so the
mm,
onus on creating chances is going to fall to the wingers. At that point, I'm not sure if
I'm telling
Rodrigo.
you, when Benzema's gone, hopefully someone like Haaland is there. And can you really say that Rodrigo, Haaland, and Vinicius can't link up?
Oh, that is a delicious,
You
delicious hypothetical.
see, Steve talked about it to us yesterday.
Yeah.
Also, the City preview would be out sometime tomorrow. Yeah, look out for it on our channel. It was a really interesting one when he actually said that, like, yeah, like if you give us like 350 million and Haaland wins us the Champions League, his job is done. He would wish him the best, and he's off. I just started dreaming from then. It wouldn't take 350 million. No fucking way. Maybe 180.
200, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 200 might, but he's worth it. Haaland for 200 million, bro. Just thinking about it, makes me really, really reminisce. The great trio we had. Probably, Vinicius, Haaland, Rodrigo. Man, oh man, it can be a scary proposition for Europe, but I'm telling you, Rodrigo's here to stay, man. Just have faith. Just have faith. Um, yeah, couple of performances that we didn't touch upon. Kamavinga. Um, Kevin, for someone who is only 20, he has won all the major competitions that he can win in under 2 years with us, man. People doubted his credentials also when he first joined, and rightfully so. He was pretty young, raw, had a tendency to pick up yellow cards and whatnot. From the outside looking in, how do you feel about Kamavinga as a player? Has he grown? Has he matured to be a top player? And how do you think he manages the pressure to actually play left back as well?
I think Camavinga's probably surprised all of us, and I think he joined Madrid. He already joined maturity and that sort of calmness about him. We saw in those comebacks in the Champions League last season. He would be subbed on, and then that would change the game somehow. Although maybe not directly involved in the goals, he was
Yeah.
into the whole team sort of pushing forward. So I can understand. Already love him already, but a player a team like Madrid, that's not, you have to continue pushing, continue performing. And I think Madrid should be quite happy in Camavinga in that when Kroos and Modric start to sort of play less and less games as happening and Camavinga's coming in, they have a good, solid player there, quite versatile, play in midfield, can play at left back, although I wouldn't really want to use him at left back too often, but he's a good result there. So yeah, I think utilize Camavinga as much as possible, and we've seen Ancelotti do that as he started today and as he started most games recently. So yeah, really good sort of spot in the transfer market, and yeah, they've got a great deal out of Camavinga for sure. So a player there for many years to come, I think.
Jacob, Camavinga, is he your go-to left back for Tuesday night, or do you think there needs to be a shake-up?
I've told you this, man. Like I think Camavinga's current form, like gives him the right to start over Mendy even when Mendy is fit. So he's gonna be my pick.
Is that good? Yeah, even defensively, you think so?
Oh no, but just the uptick in attack, I think it's worth it.
Yeah,
sacrificing the defense a bit because we need it. God knows our midfielders don't push up often, and when Camavinga and Kroos interchange, the opposition is trembling because Camavinga can break lines. He can take the ball forward and feed it to Vinny. You can't see Kroos do that.
Yeah, but I get PTSD when Kroos is out left hugging the touchline. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my god! So one ball, and behind Kroos, he's just waving. Not even tracking back. He's just gonna wave. From the halfway line.
Yeah.
That's sometimes my concern, but I completely understand how Camavinga switches up the equation. Last year, the switching up of the equation was at times him coming on in the second half, right? In the big nights, in the Champions League. I think starting him outright from the get-go this season would add another layer of unpredictability. I'm pretty sure they'll be watching us closely. Pep Guardiola would have prepared like 20 fucking slideshows of Camavinga alone to let the man know what this guy is capable of. So yeah, man, I'm just when I actually went to bed yesterday, we had that amazing preview with Steve and whatnot. When I went to bed yesterday, and all I could see was Steve's smile. Honest to God, yeah, because something about how Steve conducted himself on that preview just showed to me how confident he was. I'm telling you, it's a stark difference from last year. Last year, it was more of a case of unknown, where Steve was kind of dipping his feet into, coming up against us. Like our previous two encounters were good. Not so much the Zidane version in the 2021 season, but the one before, when I think the Gareth Bale deflected goal, actually, I think 2015-16. But yeah, man, this time he has an air of confidence that really, really worries me. So yeah, man, when I try to sleep, I see Steve's wry smile, and it kind of gives me, the vibes that these guys know what they're doing. Even when I actually saw them play today, they arrested so many key players where we are actually having to field so many of like big guns. Although it was a final, I just expected, like we could have hooked them big guys off a little more early and like sent out Asensio. Asensio waited until the 87th minute, man. Why, bro? Why that long? Like, I don't understand. Probably we gave Osasuna too much respect. They deserve respect. They played their hearts out 100%. But yeah, man, this Tuesday's thing really puts it into perspective, like how much we need to recover in like what 72 hours barely. Like we'll be traveling on the Monday night or Tuesday morning. Sorry, Sunday night or Monday morning. I think Monday morning, right? Monday morning we travel, and by evening we should be in Manchester. But yeah, it's pretty peak, man. Let's just get in some of the comments. There have been a few interesting ones. Mariano now has more trophies than Carragher and Luis Garcia combined. You know what? Gallagher is a good guy. Yeah.
Really?
He's. I'll tell you, he's much more. He's much more sufferable than Gary Neville. I'll tell you that for a fact. Um, but see, Gallagher gets so much hate because he's on everybody's meme. He's everywhere, right? You should see Luis Garcia talk. I used to love this man growing up. I didn't exactly watch him play, but on PES, Winning 11, FIFA, he was this elegant midfielder who had it all. So I knew the name Luis Garcia from when I was like 9, 10. Um, when I see this man talk about us, it's almost like it's almost like he's trying his best to jinx us through his words. You should actually watch ESPN's post-match shows. Like, it's not the best. It is bullshit, but still, watch this guy spew utter crap to just earn money and go back home. Like, he's just one of those pundits that just makes you want to throw up. Um, but yeah, man, it's such a sweet thing. The man with the holy, double dreadlocks has more trophies than Carragher and Luis Garcia. I bet that would sting, and these guys would come across, tweets such as those, in the coming days. Ashik says we like having our backs against the wall. Against the wall, I imagine we don't believe in making it easy. 100% Madridistas have the most worn out hearts in the world. Yeah, with all the stress they put their fans through. I've told you, man. Rodrigo's brace last year aged me like 5. Like, I'll be very honest, it was an out of the body experience, 100%. Ashik also says Real likes having their back against the wall. Us Madridistas hearts have a lot of mileage thanks to what we get get out through by this incredible club. He also mentioned when Benz is gone, we can still have Lord Mariano. I don't agree with that. He'll be gone. Dennis the Great says, man, big up Big Steve, 100% big up Big Steve, man. Can't wait for that preview. It should be out in approximately like 12 hours or so. It'll be premiering in under 12 hours, 100%, because we barely have like a couple of days before the match to actually, keep the preview up. It was a great conversation. You guys should definitely check it out. And we also have a preview with Big Steve again for the second leg, probably on our channel or maybe on his channel as well. So yeah, man, big him up always. Danielson says, big up you guys, big up you, man. Thanks for tuning in again. Brilliant night, honestly. Ashik says Mariano is now the most decorated Dominic.
Stop it with these Marino stats, man. Come on.
This guy Ashik is basically tapping into the Mariano hype, and just living with it. You shouldn't be exploiting this, man. This is the Mariano exploitation, honestly. Danielson says, good game today by the boys. The presence of David Alaba can't be undermined in this team. Man always brings that stillness and calmness anytime he is in the back line. Yeah, 100%. He's definitely a guy who brings our team together at the back. Dennis the Great says, fuck Luis Garcia. Yeah, that's what I would like to say as well. I hate him with a passion. He has a crazy agenda against us. What do you expect? He's an ex-Atleti and a Barcelona player. Yeah. I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess. But still, man, you got to have some sort of unbiased views. You're getting paid to actually be on live television, right? Like, you got to carry yourself with some sort of panache. Like, you can't be just waffling for the sake of it, right? Like, just catering to your ex-clubs fans all the time. Danielson says, now we switch our attention to Tuesday against City, 100%. Yeah, man. I would have liked to actually, like I said earlier, if we had this game a couple of weeks from now, after the City tie, it would have been a completely different mode. This post-match would have went in a completely different direction. I really want to celebrate, right? I really want to jump up and scream. You guys know me. I don't keep my feelings inside. I don't hold back. but the City tie being less than 72 hours away, I just can't bring myself to really, kind of celebrate this title, man. It has been a long time coming. 20th Copa del Rey, 10 years in the making, and whatnot. Carlo completing his trophy cabinet for his second stint. It feels definitely sweet. I'm not gonna lie, but the timing again, the timing is a bad one to take. Yeah, man. Quickly, final thoughts, Kevin. I'll come to you first. Yeah, Osasuna can definitely go home, with their head held high. Um, 15, was it 15 or 13 years or so, since your last final in
Yeah,
2005 and whatnot.
almost 20 years,
Yeah,
2005.
yeah. Yeah, almost 20 years, 18 years. Yeah. So, like you said many a times, like you could take so much positives from your performance and showing. Um, can we see Osasuna back here in some sort of shape or form in the next couple of years?
I think so.
Everything has to fall into place, but Osasuna team seems like a team that has a lot of things going for them at this moment in time.
Yeah, why not? To be honest, we in the group final, we played Sevilla and Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, I suppose Madrid did us a favour by knocking out Athletic Barcelona. But yeah, I think Osasuna can certainly build on today, focus on the rest of the league, finish in a high position and push for Europe that fight. And certainly they'll be given confidence on their performance today and go on and compete and go with the likes of Real Madrid, who are one of the best teams in the world. So they can certainly be proud of themselves today. And all the fans will be proud. They put Osasuna on the map by performing how they performed today. So definitely, I'm excited for next season. Arasata's done a really good job with this group of players, and certainly, next year we can be excited for what's to come.
100%. Yeah, man, massive love for Osasuna. Definitely a club that seems to do the right things. Like honestly, like I said, the biggest thing, they don't play anti-football. It's such an underrated trait for clubs, mid-table clubs like Osasuna.
I mean, we haven't beaten since 2011. Fortunately, today wasn't the day, so that sort of stat stays on. But we'll see next season.
100%. Man, you guys were fighting for relegation, not so long ago. So we have come a long way, long way. People forget that.
They've more than exceeded what because normally it's survive relegation, don't be in that fight, and really push for 10 upwards. And I think we're sitting on 9th at the moment. We're in the cup final, and we're a few points off of Europe, so they can't be too hard on themselves. And they gave the fans sort of a brilliant day, lots of excitement.
So many great stories, like people like Aridane, like he he had to actually wait like 10 years to actually play in the top flight in Spain. So yeah, man, it's such an underdog story, like all throughout.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just Aridane, it's with you look at David Garcia, you look at people like Chimi Avila, you look at Ruben Garcia, people that haven't played, or started their careers, and not top level at all. And so to get to where they have got to, they can be proud for sure.
100%. Couple of more comments. Dennis the Great says, I hope we can like the 2-1 on Tuesday and put the pressure on City for the second leg. I think he means that I hope we can nick a 2-1. 2-1. We all know what happened with the 4-3 lead that City had. Man, 2-1 lead. I won't be sleeping well. I'll guarantee you that. Thiago Santos is in the chat. He says, I'm one of the biggest Rodrigo supporters. I loved his goals tonight, but I still have doubts if on Tuesday he should start in the right wing or Valverde starts there and we put Chouameni as DM. When we did the preview, well, I'll save it. I'll save it for you guys to watch the preview, which comes out in a few hours. Yeah, but most of us guys actually went with what Carlo would go with for a much more conservative setup. Valverde out wide, but we'll see. We'll see. I would prefer Rodrigo coming on in the second half. Like his fresh legs would cause them a lot many problems, especially Ake, who is not a naturally who's not a natural wing back or a left back. So yeah, I would like to throw Rodrigo at him and test his metal. That's what I would be thinking. Like, but Carlo, he knows better. He knows better. Ashik says Carlo's second Copa del Rey cabinet was already complete. Carlo won his first Copa del Rey in 2014 when Bale destroyed Bartra's career. It's nice to see two small budget clubs play in the Copa del Rey final. Both Real and Osasuna should be proud. Jacob, I would want you to address that. Like he basically labeled us a small budget club. Like it just goes to show, yeah, like where we are at this stage. At this moment in time, we can't move like the cities of this world. But apparently, we have hooked up Bellingham to a 120 million deal. Yeah, how does that happen?
Man, we are the biggest customers of McDonald's already in Madrid with Hazard.
McDonald's?
Yeah, because Hazard has the paybook already, so we're already losing money. On top of that, we've gone out and spent at least 150 mil with all the variables for sure. And I don't.
Yeah.
Come on, man! Like we're the biggest budget club out there.
Ashik, you can keep your sarcasm to yourself, man. Honestly, like save it for the summer. I'll just say that, save it for the summer. But yeah, man. Like I said, I wish this victory was in better circumstances in terms of timing. But it's such a sweet victory, like Cruz didn't win a Copa del Rey before. So many guys didn't win a Copa del Rey before. Alaba completing his trophy haul with us. It's super sweet, Kamavinga. Like a good a couple of records that really requires a mention. Karim Benzema, Carlo, and whatnot. It definitely feels great, but the timing dampens it a bit. Yeah, man. On that note, the only thing that we can hope for is a good result on Tuesday and something to hang on to take it back to the Etihad. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be straightforward, and it's going to be a wild ride. There's no two ways about it. Like we all know how it's going to end up, happening. So yeah, like if you haven't already had your checkups, your regular doctor visits and whatnot, it is now the best time to do it, before you end up in the and end up in a situation that you don't want to be in. But yeah, man, much love to our listeners on our audio platforms. We are almost at like 22k. Like I always say, it's been a mad ride all throughout these 2 years. Really humbling. So would like to extend our warmest thanks to actually like for all you guys who actually also sends in messages, tries to reach out to us, so yeah, man, like any feedback, whether good or bad, like yeah, man, like just shout us out on our Instagram. And yeah, like we are on the road to 1k. Like I always say, man, like 20 of you already in the chat. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. It would mean a lot. I would stress, it would mean a lot. Like this has been small beginnings, man. Honestly, this has been small beginnings. Like we are from different parts of the world, juggling uni and work at the same time. It's been quite difficult to actually do this on a consistent basis, but we managed to do it because, like I always mention, because of you guys, making this a two-way conversation is why we get motivated to, show up here even after a fucking battering. Girona, a couple of days. Yeah, talking about Girona, Steve had a lot to talk about Girona last night as well. So yeah, like watch out for that as well. He had his fun time, like taking the piss, but it is what it is, man. Yeah, massive thanks to people like Steve, Matisse, Gris Khan, Samuel Marsden. This season has been definitely special, and I hope we have a couple more very, very strong chapters to, wind up this season. It would mean the world to all of us. Also, do check out our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee. They run a brilliant fan page. Do check them out. On that note, hopefully we see you for the watch along. We also have the premiere of our city preview. It was unfortunately pre-recorded because Steve had to travel to Madrid for the first leg. The next one would be definitely live, so you guys can actually get involved in the chat and whatnot. But yeah, tomorrow the premiere will happen for the city preview, and then we'll have the watch along, the usuals, with Doris. So show her some love. Make sure you are here actually supporting the thing and whatnot. Yeah, man. Up until then, I guess it's Ala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Osasuna.